Good morning, class. Okay, today is going to be your first day of lessons. Okay, now, like I told you, you need to make sure you do have a composition book. Okay, everything I write in here, I want you to write as well. That way, you get used to taking notes. Okay, because you'll be taking notes from here on out. Okay, so this is going to be your math journal, your math book. Okay, and it's a way for your parents to go back and look and see what you're being taught today. Okay, so I have my composition book here. And I am just going to go ahead and label it. Okay. So you're going to put your name here. So my name is Mrs. Munoz. You'll put your name there. And then this is 7th grade math. Okay. That way, this is your book, and you know that it is for math only. Okay. Now, inside your book is going to be all of the notes we're going to be taking. Okay. So this is how I need you to set it up. So go ahead and open it up. Okay, here's our first page of notes. So on the top right here, on the first page, okay, you're going to write table of contents. Okay, table of contents. Just like that. And we're going to use a lot of these pages for the table of contents, okay? Today we're doing one lesson, okay? You'll be doing about a lesson a day. So that's going to be our first page. So we're going to write the page number right here. So PG for page, and your hashtag mark is actually a number mark, okay? So page number, and then the description is going to go here. So we can just put objective, just like that, okay? Now we're going to be doing page 1 today. So page 1 subjective is place value. Place value. I know we're taking it all the way back, okay? But at this grade level, a lot of your questions and answers have to be rounded to a specific place value. So you do have to understand the importance of place value itself, okay? So page 1 will be place value. Now, to continue on, we're going to go ahead and turn the page. On the back, we're going to write table of contents again. Because remember, this is your math book, okay? This is going to be your math book, so we do have a lot of stuff to cover, okay? So label table of contents, just like that. And at any time, if it goes too fast for you, or if if you write a little bit slower than I do, press pause and just, copy it down, and then, press play when you're ready to join back, okay? So I'm on the second page now, and table of contents again. Yes, you're going to have a lot of notes, okay? It's like I said, we do one objective pretty much, every day, okay? Just about every day. All right, so you should have that on the second page. On the back of that page, guess what? Table of contents, one last time. This is the last time, I promise. Table of contents, okay? And everything is in pen. Everything I write, you write in pen, okay? And whatever you do on your own is when you use the pencil. That way, if you make a mistake, you can erase it, okay? So that's that. Now, we are ready for our note-taking, okay? This is your lesson for the day. And this is pretty much how I do it in class as well, all right? Except I just can't ask you questions during this time. That's what the Google Meets office hours are for, so that'll be our time to hook up there, okay? So on the top right corner, this is page 1. So I just put the number and put in a circle. This is page 1. Our objective today is place value. So you're going to learn the importance of place value. That way it gets us ready for tomorrow, which is going to be rounding, okay? So place value is our title. So just make sure you put it there on the very top, okay, the tippity top right there. And I'm going to show you some place value, okay? So what is place value? All right, I don't have a class to tell me, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it is, okay? Place value is the value of each part of a number, depends on its place or position in that number, okay? So each place has a value. So the 6 is in the ones place, the 8 is in the tens, and the 4 is in the hundreds, which means in the number 486, 6 means 6 ones. I have 6 ones. 8 means I have 8 tens. And 4 means I have 4 hundreds, okay? So it's very important to understand how we come up with our numbers, what they mean, okay? And it gives us the value. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you the place value chart, okay? So we're going to write our place value chart. Since we do have decimals and whole numbers here, we'll start off. I'm going to go ahead and skip a line and put this dot right there, okay? This dot has a special name. I know you know the name. Say it out loud. It is decimal, okay? That is our decimal. That is our point, okay? It's what separates the whole numbers from the decimal numbers, all right? Now, the numbers to the left over here, all these numbers over here to the left have a specific name as well, okay? You know what those are called? Whole numbers, okay? These are our whole numbers, okay? So all the whole numbers go off to the left of the decimal, okay? To the right of the decimal, those are our decimals, okay? Now, let's talk about the place values for the whole numbers, the ones you've learned since you were a little kid, okay? The first place value right in front of the decimal is our ones place, okay? It is our ones place value. So those are little unit cubes you used to use when you were a kid, okay? In front of the ones is your tens place. Very good, guys, okay? In front of the tens, your hundreds. And you remember, after you do 3 whole numbers, you separate the values with a comma. Okay, so these are our 1 values. Those are the comma. Then we get into the thousands value. So the 1 right in front of the comma is our thousands place. Now, like I said, you can watch the video, watch the notes entirely, and then go back and copy, okay? Or if you like to copy as you go, press pause at any time, okay, if I go too fast, okay? So there's your whole numbers. We have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, and the thousands, okay? Now, off to the right side of the decimal, we have our decimal values, okay? Now, this one has the majority of issues with it. When I ask for the place value of this one every year, I have a lot of kids who get this wrong, which is understandable, okay? You want to follow the pattern. A lot of people want to say this is the once place. That is not true, okay? We do not have a once place, but we do have the tenths place. So we do start off with the tenths, not the ones, okay? Now, the big difference here is this is a whole number, okay? This is a tenths, okay? So if you take a look in the wording, the THS tells me as a reader that this is a decimal, not a whole number when I see this place value, okay? And that's gonna be important a little bit later on, okay? So when you see THS, that means it's a decimal, it is not a whole number, okay? Now, after the tenths, we're gonna kind of follow the same pattern minus that ones, okay? So after the tenths place, we're gonna go to the hundredths place. So it kind of sounds weird when you say it, you know? Because you're adding that THS, the thus sound, okay? So we have the tenths, we have the hundredths, and what's next, if we follow the pattern? The thousandths. Good job, guys. Y'all are doing good. Okay, and remember, it's the thousand, but you just add that THS, okay? Now, if I keep on going, we have the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millions, okay? The same thing over here, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, okay? Main difference is the th sound, okay? Now, when I have you write these out, we do not say dot, we do not say point, okay, or period. We say the special word and, okay? You say and. I'm going to put it here in parentheses also so you remember. So to separate the two, we use the word and. And tells me there's a decimal point between the whole number and the decimal place values, okay? That separates the two, okay? Now, we're going to do two kind of examples. I'm going to have you go from the number form, and we're going to write it as a word. And then I'll give you the word form and we'll write it as a number. Okay, so we'll do both ways. That's what your assignment's going to be tonight. Okay, simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, promise. Okay, so our first example, we are going to write it in word form. So this is word form. Okay, let's say I give you the number, I better not say it because that'll give you the answer, 5.068. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to say this correctly. Okay, say it correctly, that way you know how to write it correctly. All right, now the first thing I see a decimal. So that decimal tells me I have whole numbers on the left side and I have decimal place values on the right side. So I'm going to start with a whole number because you read the way you write. So we're going to go ahead and start with the left number here. And since it's a whole number, I'm just going to say it. How would you say this number? It's the number 5. So I'm going to write out 5. Okay, easy enough, right? And this is why I like colored pens, because I color code everything. Okay, when we get back together, everything has a place. Okay, and everything is very organized. All right. Now, the next thing we have is this decimal point. Okay, what did I tell you that we say instead of point or dot or decimal? We say the word and. So in place of this decimal, I have it in red pen, I'm going to write the word and. So just like that. So far we have 5 and. Okay? Okay. Now, let's go to the decimal point. Now, these are done. So I like to cover them up if I'm having trouble trying to say the number. So we did the 5 already. That's done. I did the decimal point. That's the word and. I'm done with that one. Now, let's look at this. Let's just imagine, pretend for a little bit that this is a whole number. How would you say that number? 68. So I'm going to write 68. Now, when you write numbers like that, you put a little dash in between. That means they kind of belong together. 68 belongs together. Okay, 68. But I'm not done yet. Okay, I need the place value. Remember, like I told you, I need to know what place value this 68 is in. Okay, so because it's not a whole number. All right. So if you look at the 68 here, we're going to go to the last digit. The 8 is my last digit. Okay. Now your job is to figure out what is the place value of this digit. Here's my place value chart to help us. Okay, so let's take a look. We have the 0 is in the tenths. I don't need that one. The 6 is in the hundreds. I don't need that one. The 8 is in the thousands. That is the one I need. So since the 8 is in the thousands place, you write thousands. And you're done. So this number written and said correctly is 5 and 68 thousandths. Okay. Now, when you do write them out on your assignment today, just double check your spelling because it will count it incorrect if you spelled it wrong. Okay. I'll go back and check right now to see if I will give you credit and stuff. I will give you credit if you misspell right now, but get in the habit of double checking your spelling. Usually, I think it will give you that little red squiggly line if you spelled anything incorrectly. Okay. All right, let's try another one. Okay, feeling confident a little bit? You know, everything coming back slowly but surely. Let's try this number. Okay. And just like before, we are going to write this in word form. Okay. Now, the first thing I see again, I see a decimal, which tells me I have whole numbers and I have decimal numbers. Okay. So we'll start with the whole number first. So here's my decimal. So I'm going to circle the number to the left, sorry, just so I can see it. All right, this is the number we're dealing with right now, the whole number before the decimal. And how do you say that number? 83, okay? So 80, EIGHTY dash 3, okay? 83. So far, so good. Now, we have this dot again. What do you say in place of the dot? And. Very good. We use the word and. So go ahead and write the word and. Now, decimal time. Okay, here's the one that we do have some issues with. So the 83 is done, so I like to cover it up. The decimal is done, I cover him up. Now, like I said before, pretend it's a whole number just for a split second. How would you say that number? 53. So we're going to write Miss Munoz can't spell. 53. That's FIFTY. Okay. And now our job, we have to figure out the place value. Okay. So after the decimal, I have to go to the 3, which if you look at it, it is 1, 2. It's 2 digits after the decimal. So let's take a look. The tenths is the first one. I don't need that. The hundredths is the second place value after the decimal. So that's the one I need. So the 3 is in the hundredth spot. So we write over here hundredths. So the correct way to say this number is 83 and 53 hundredths. Okay? Good job. All right. I have a couple more examples. Let me just fix my book so I can move it around. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go the other way. And I'm going to give you a number and I'm going to give you it in word form and we're going to write the number. There we go. So we're going to learn how to write this in number form. Okay. So the example. Let's see. Let me make up something. Yeah. Okay. Let's take 3 and 4 hundredths. Okay. 3 and 4 hundredths. I'm going to write that down. Now, as I read this, I saw the word and, right? You remember what and stood for? Come on, pen. That was our decimal, okay? So we're going to put this dot right there. There is my dot ready, okay? So I'm going to have whole numbers on the left, decimals on the right. So let's take a look at the first number, okay? I know this is a whole number because it's before the word and, okay? And this number is 3. Okay, so how do you write the number 3? It's just the number 3 because we have 3 1s, so it's just the number 3. Okay, now here's the tricky part. It's the lovely decimals. Okay, we like decimals because they deal with money. I like decimals. Okay, now before I look at the number associated right here, this is 4 hundredths. Okay, I need to figure out the place value. So this is my important information right here, okay? Hundredths. I need to remember how many digits is the hundredths after the decimal, okay? So I like to just say it out loud. That way I don't forget them or don't, get the wrong place value. So I put a line here. That is the tenths place. Remember, not the ones, the tenths. And the hundredths, and I'm done. Because this tells you stop at the hundredths, okay? This tells you this number has to stop in this place value right here, which is the hundreds, okay? Now, this says 4. I know what a 4 looks like. So that tells me this number here has to end in the 100 spot. So I'm going to put the 4 down there in the 100 spot, okay? Now, I do have an empty place value. There's nothing there in the tens. What do we put in that represents nothing? We put a 0. 0 represents nothing. Okay, we don't have any. We don't have any tenths. We have 400s. So 3 and 400s looks like this. 3.04. We end in the 100 spot. Okay. If I'm going too fast, just press pause. Okay. And we'll do one more. Okay, let's do 68 thousandths. 68 thousandths. You write it down? Okay. Now, do I see the word and here like I did up here? No. Now, just because you don't see the word and does not mean automatically this is a whole number. Okay, you have to distinguish, is this a whole number or is this a decimal? Now, how do you distinguish that? Remember, look at all these place values. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Look at these place values, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so take a look here. Do you see a word that tells you if it's a whole number or is a decimal? It is this right here. Thousandths. It has the thus right there. So because it added that THS, that tells you it is a decimal and not a whole number. Okay, so because it is a decimal, I need to put the decimal right here. Okay, and since I have no whole number, there is no whole number here, I don't have any. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 right there in its place. Okay, now the thousands, just like we did before, I'm going to put a blank representing each place value. Okay, so I'm going to start with my place value chart. We go with the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. I'm going to stop because that tells me stop at the thousands. I stop at the thousands. Okay, now this number. This is 68. What does 68 look like normally? It looks like this. Okay, now you remember, this is telling you that this number has to end in the thousands place. So that means this 8 has to end right here. So I need to put the 8 here, and the 6 goes in the place value before it. And we have an empty place value. What do we put when we have an empty place value? 0, because that represents nothing. Okay, so 68 thousandths looks like this, 0.068. Okay. Now, if you have questions, get onto Google Meets at your time for your period, and I'll answer any questions you have. Now, let me show you what we do next. Okay, so zoom out a little bit. So you should have your notes here, nice and pretty. Everything should fit on one page, hopefully. Go to the back. Okay. Now, on the back, you are going to write, try it out. Okay. Try it out. This is where you're going to try it out on your own. Okay, so I'm going to give you 4 examples. You're going to press pause on the video, work them out yourselves, press play when you're ready to join, and see if you got them correct. Okay, if you didn't get them correct, kind of see where you went wrong. Okay, and if you have a question, email me or come on to Google Meets. Okay, but this is to see, did you understand what I just told you? Do you remember how to do this stuff? Okay, sorry. All right, so the 4 examples I'm going to give you, let me get them for you here. Okay, just to start you off. You're going to do just like your notes did. We're going to go from word form, and then we're going to go to number form. Okay, so let me zoom in so you can see them. So word form. Number 1, I want you to write this correctly. How would you say this? Okay, so give me the word form of that one. And then skip a couple lines. Number 2. How would you say that one correctly? Okay. And then over here, I'm going to give you, I want you to give me the number. Okay. How would you write this in number form? So in number 3, I want you to give me 4 hundredths. How would you write that correctly as a number? And then the last one, 1 9/10. Okay. Let's go ahead and press pause. Okay. Try it on your own, and I'll see you back in a little bit. Okay. When you're ready, press play, and I'll give you the answers. Okay. All right. So hopefully you got it. We'll see if you got it good. Okay. So number 1, the way you say this correctly, there is no whole numbers, so you don't have to put 0. Okay. But I do know this is a decimal. So just like I did before, how would I say that correctly? I would say this as 35. Okay. 35. Now for the place value, I have 2 digits after the decimal. So I need to figure out what that place value is. So this is tenths, hundredths. So you should have got 35 hundredths. Okay. If you did, give yourself a pat on the back. You did good. Okay. Next one. We have this right here. Now I see a decimal and now I have a whole number. Okay. So now I got to start with a whole number. So you should have got 7. And then we have a decimal here. That is the word and. And then we have this decimal here. So you should have looked at it and said, well, that is 48. So I'm going to write 48. And then for the place value, I have 3 digits after. So this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So you should have got 7 and 48 thousandths. Okay. So good job. If you got it wrong, just kind of see where you went wrong. Maybe you went off on the place value or something. Okay. So figure out what happened. All right. Now the number form. Okay. I gave you 4 hundredths. This one has no decimal. I mean, no, not it doesn't have the word and. So I had to figure out, is it a decimal or is it a whole number? This THS right here tells me it is a decimal. Okay. So I do not have a whole number. It is a decimal, so I do need that decimal point to tell me I am in the thus side of the decimal, okay? Now, I'm going to the hundredths, so I'm going to say tenths, hundredths, okay? I know this is a 4, so this 4 needs to end in the hundredth spot, and I put a 0 in place, the missing 0 there. So that's what you should have got for that one, okay? And the last one for today. 1 and 9/10. I see the word and, which means I have whole numbers and I have decimals. Good. Okay. So 1, I know looks like this. There's 1. And is my decimal point. Oh, I sneeze. And then if you said bless you, thank you. Thank me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. 9/10. Tenths goes 1 place value. Okay, we have 1 line past that decimal. So we have the tenths place. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. And 9, I know what the number 9 looks like, which means 9 ends in the tenths place. So it's going to go right there. So 1 and 9/10 should look like this. Okay, so hopefully you got them right. If you did, good job. Pat on your back. Okay. Now on the tried outs, when you did this on your own, it should be in pencil. Okay, if it wasn't right now, don't worry about it. But next time, whenever we do try it out, you can write the question in pen. That's fine. But make sure you do your work in pencil. Okay. Now for your assignment today, you have place value numbers. If you need to show any work, please get yourself a little binder or a little spiral or something that keeps all of your math work in and label it. Like assignment number 1. Okay. And then do your work on there. That way, if you ever do get a grade below a 70, you can go back to that question you got wrong because it'll tell you which ones you got wrong. and kind of see what you did wrong. Sometimes people forgot to, like later on, they'll forget to carry the 1 over, or they divide it incorrectly. Okay, that way you don't have to do the whole thing over again. You can kind of figure out what you did wrong and fix it there. Okay, so you're done with the lesson for today. So hopefully you copied it in. I mean, you have to, because when we come back, I'm going to be checking these, okay, because this is your book. All right. So when you're done here, don't forget to go to your classroom. Okay, so you do have to go to your classroom. Let me minimize that one. So make sure you go to Google Classroom. Let me find our class. Waffle here, classroom here. Well, you should already be in there. I'm not in there. Okay. Nope, we're on Tuesday. And you go ahead and click on the assignment number 1. Okay. Go ahead and answer the questions here. Always put your first and last name, put what period you're in, please, okay, and then answer the questions. It's just 10 questions, 10 easy questions, and then click submit, okay? Once you click submit, you are counted present for the day, or unless I see you on Google Meets as well, okay? So if you have questions, email me. My email again is amunoz8@eaglepassisd.net, okay? And if you need to get on Google Meets, check out your times, and I'll be there, all right? I want y'all to have a great day, and hopefully this lesson wasn't too bad. Hopefully you liked it, okay? All right, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.